Rise and shine, people, it's me, Renox, back once again, and it's time to get better at CSGO. Has everyone been having a fabulous day so far? I hope you have, and if you haven't, there's no need to worry. This video is sure to cheer you up, even if it's just for a little bit. The status quo today is to talk all about the different roles inside of Counter-Strike. More specifically, we are going to be ranking them from the easiest right the way up the chain to the hardest. The roles covered in today's video will be the traditional ones, these being the lurker, entry fragger, support player, in-game leader, and finally the AWPer. A couple more non-traditional roles have been thrown into the mix as well, whilst there will most likely be a whole lot of variation in different individual versions of this here ranking. After much deliberation and thought put into it, this is the ProGuides curated order for the roles. Hopefully this video will help you to figure out both what role would suit you, and if you've already decided on that, then you'll certainly be able to perfect your role playing with this video. So why don't we just crack on the hell with it? So let's get into the video. Oh wait, I know why we can't just get into it yet. It's just because we haven't asked our question of the day. Today, that question is, what is your least favorite map in the game? We've inquired with interest into your favorite map, and now we want to know what is the other side of your coin. Do you side with the cash loyalists in saying that Vertigo needs to go, or are you maybe anti-nuke? For me, it's just gotta be Cobblestone. I know, it's not even in the game anymore, but I still have nightmares about trying to hold B-side on that map. Let's move into the video quickly. I don't want my thoughts to linger on that map any more than they need to. So, trade fragging and flashbanging its way into first, and therefore easiest spot on this list is the support role. Now, I just want to start off by saying that just because it's here on this list doesn't mean that it's easy. Being the support player is one of the most quintessential roles on any team. Just look at a few of the famous examples at the top level. Would Astralis have been as good as they were without Zipnix? Would SK Gaming have had their run of dominance extend all the way to a second major without Taco? All the top teams have a top support player. They're always there to flash a teammate in or go in and get the trade frag. Sometimes the support role goes so deep that you'll see them dropping their entry fragger teammates in AK whilst only buying utility. I'll give it to you straight here. Being a support player can be boring. You'll never end up with 30 frags at the end of the game, and you'll most likely get stuck playing the boring spots as to give your teammates a chance to shine in their more aggressive roles. However, none of this means it isn't just as rewarding. I've said it in numerous videos before. Any level of impact is good impact. The main reason I put this role on the easiest spot of the list is due to the lack of gunfights you'll end up involved in. It still retains a level of difficulty, however, as learning things like good flashes, how to let your teammates play off you, and most importantly, how to trade kills really take the front seat. The ideal way that you can be playing as a support player is to be very adaptive. This means to change how you support round by round, as you should try and find out what is the most helpful for your teammates in the current situation. Do they need a fast CT smoke so they can take B-site quickly, or should you just try and make some noise as a distraction so they can make their maximum impact somewhere else? This idea of playing adaptively comes into play with every single role, but most prominently when we consider supporting. For number 4, we've got a role going hand in hand with support, and one of the few CT roles on our list. It's the anchor role. Anchoring a bomb site is absolutely vital, making it so the rest of your team have one less thing to worry about. As an anchor, you'll pick up site and start playing it pretty much until the bomb is seen somewhere else. Other than that situation, you need to trust your teammates on the other bomb site and the rotators to handle it. The best way to be an anchoring player is to study each site you play in great detail. Learn timings, lots of angles, and nades to help fend off the terrorists. I've placed this role here mainly due to its lack of variety. Whilst you need to change up how you hold the site, in the grand scheme of things, you're largely doing the same thing every round. Unfortunately, playing as an anchor is yet another thing with no definitive way to practice it existing. Try to read and watch as much as you can about playing as an anchor, as it is much more a strategic role than a mechanical one. Time for a quick one. It's the flip side of the counter-terrorist roles. We've got the Rotator. Playing the rotate is a bit like playing the lurker. You've got to possess a decent knowledge of timings, whilst also making sure that you don't make too many mistakes with your rotations. To be as an effective rotator as you can be, you've got to listen to the info and advice that your teammates give. However, make sure you don't let them make the decision for you. A bad decision to rotate can easily cost you the round, as any terrorist side will be able to exploit the weak bomb site and pounce on the opportunity. Therefore, make sure that you not only rotate at the right time, but try not to give away that you're rotating as well. This is one main thing, that being sound cues. There are certain spots on the map where the terrorists can easily hear you rotating, info that they can use to gain leverage in the round. An example of this is all the steps you can hear while playing B short whilst in underpass on Mirage. Playing the Rotator has been placed here on the list because of it not needing better aiming prowess than any of the other roles for you to fit into. The mark of a good Rotator is being in the right place at the right time. Their aim is a separate factor entirely. Dialing up the difficulty a few decimals, at number 3, we've got Opping. Arguably, some of the greatest pros of all time have been Oppers, ranging from Markelov in 1.6 all the way to Simple and Kenny S in Global Offensive. Being an Opper is more than just buying the big green boomstick whenever you can. It's part of your identity as a CSGO player, and will bleed into how you play with pistols and rifles as well. Past just using it to hold mid doors on Dust 2, the Op has hundreds of different uses. It can be used for the traditional long-range holding angles, you can whip it out to gain an entry into the round, or maybe even get up close and personal and almost use it like a shotgun. To be an Opper, you've got to know not just how to hit flicks and quickscopes, but you've got to understand the optimal way to use the gun in every situation. In some, this could call for simply sitting back and waiting. In others, you've got to realize that you must be the one to make that significant play. This is something that only comes from practice and through learning from trial and error. However, one of the best and easy changes that you can make to your Opping is to make sure that you stay unpredictable. If the enemies can read where you are every round, they'll be able to counter you soon enough. Whether this counter is a 5-man rush or simply going to the other bomb site, making sure you mix things up is a great counter to anything they try to do to get rid of you. Opping has been placed here on this list due to its relative ease in aiming. If you play it well, using the Op is as simple as reacting a bit before the other guy. A great way to learn this is to watch Device play. Whilst he has some of the craziest aim that this game has ever seen, he instead relies on playing every situation perfectly to bag him 1 or 2 kills every round. Whilst Opping does require a lot of thinking, it doesn't have to require great aim to conquer a cracking level of competence. Additionally, while Opping, always make sure that you have a plan of action for every round and every engagement. Doing so will allow you to focus entirely on your next shot that you need to hit, increasing your chances of coming out on top. Climbing up the ladder of difficulty a few rungs, now we've got Lurking, drawing at number 2 with Entry Fragging, which I'll be talking about next. I've placed these two at a draw because they're pretty much two sides of the same coin when it comes to playing Counter-Strike. Whilst both require the same mechanical skills, they couldn't be more different in application. When it comes to lurking, you'll need great game sense and patience from yourself, whilst also needing good communication from your teammates in order to be most effective. The most famous example of a lurker is, of course, Get Right himself. Through a dominant few years with NIP at the start of Global Offensive, he carried out his lurking role diligently. What you would see if you watched a demo of his is pretty simple in essence. Try to cut off any CT rotations you can. Bear in mind, this doesn't just always mean getting 3 kills. It can just mean being somewhere and holding up the CTs with a bit of a gunfight. Learning to play this role as well as you can will take a lot of time and dedication to the craft. It for sure isn't something that you can practice in any way except by simply just playing the game a lot. Lurking has been placed in joint second on the list due to its large element of luck, but also an equally important knowledge of rotations, timings, and the game in general to pull it off effectively. Whilst lurking all game will mean that you aren't at the heart of all the action, it can have an incredible impact if instigated efficiently. Now, it's time to put on our aggressive hats as we delve into, as promised, entry fragging. Like I said before, entry fragging is the other side of the lurking coin, as they both require similar qualities. Entrying effectively can be a complete game changer for your stats. Just look at what a good entry fragger like Freiburg or Electronic can do for their respective teams. There can be, strangely, quite a bit of confusion around the entry fragger role, so let me clear it up really quickly. The entry fragger is, believe it or not, the first of the terrorist side to enter a site on attack. This could be Catwalk, Pop Dog, or the bomb site itself. Taking map control quickly is equally as important as trying to get the entry onto a bomb site. On entering, try to get a frag, or if not, make sure you call out where in order for your teammates to get a trade. Dying and getting traded is nearly as effective as getting the kill yourself, as it put pressure on the CTs to open up part of the map for you. Entry fragging requires good map knowledge and an aggressive, in-your-face mindset that won't tilt too easily. To be the best entry fragger you can be, make sure you A, have a good warm-up, B, keep focused, and C, know what you are doing. It's been placed this far down on the list due to the mental load it can put on the player and also the significant mechanical demand. To improve your entry fragging, there are 2 great solutions. The first is execute and retake servers. When on these, make sure you're actually entering, running in first guns blazing. This will instill in you a good sense of where the CTs could potentially be playing in a live match, whilst also giving you real targets to aim at. However, these servers aren't for everyone. Whether you're a bit out of your depth or simply don't want to take it too seriously, pre-fire maps have you covered. I personally recommend the YPRAC map series. These maps, when in pre-fire mode, are an absolutely fantastic tool to learn common CT positions and to train your crosshair placement accordingly. Just remember, it's like I say in every video, consistent practice on these maps is what will lead to significant results, not just booting it up for 20 minutes every few weeks. Put the hours in now to see the frags go out later. Rounding out the list with the most difficult role of them all, we've got in-game leading or IGLing. Being an IGL is easily the most strenuous of all the traditional roles in Counter-Strike. Not only are there expectations for you yourself to perform, we've got to orchestrate it so that the rest of your team performs as well. Furthermore, trying to IGL in a matchmaking game is extremely difficult due to people just plain not paying attention sometimes. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't try though. Being an IGL requires not only good mechanical abilities, but you've got to have a brilliant mind for the game as well. Furthermore, you need to have good intrinsic leadership qualities built into you as a person. And last but not least, you've got to be calm and as calm as can be. Believe me, there's nothing worse than a tilted IGL, and that comes from years of personal experience playing on teams. An IGL must do two things differently from the rest of their team. The first of these being the obvious one, calling. You can pre-round call or mid-round or both. And the most important thing about your calls is that you are 100% confident in them yourself. If you aren't 100% sure about a call you make, your team will sense it, and that lack of confidence from their leader will likely bleed over into them as well. You will make bad calls, but what's important is that you learn from them, so don't ever second guess yourself on a call that you made. The second part is being a team leader. By this, I mean calming your team down, keeping everybody playing together, and instilling a sense of confidence in them. These are all traits of a good leader both in and out of Counter-Strike, and you can't make all the calls for your team if you aren't really their leader to begin with. That is why the IGL role has been placed as the most difficult on the list, the huge mental load that it puts on you as a player. There's a good reason why no IGLs are ever great fraggers, and it's because they're constantly got to be thinking about the rest of their team. They can never really fully focus on their aim, so they'll rarely be the ones getting the highlight clips. Alright everyone, that's the ProGuides ranking of all the different roles in CSGO completed. What do you think is the most difficult role? Do you agree with our list? Let us know down in the comments below, and don't forget to answer our question of the day while you're down there. Also, feel free to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. If you really want to improve though, head on over to ProGuides.com for the ultimate CSGO improvement facilities. You'll find a whole lot of guides, including one by the unbelievably ubiquitous Ukrainian himself, Simple. Or, to go the extra mile, hire your own personal coach to walk you through your mistakes and give you a personalized training plan. So what are you waiting for? Boost your game today.